What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. So, a lot of negativity has been spewed about the Clippers, and they deserve it. They deserve it. I mean, they deserve to take it on the chin, honestly. They deserve every bit of it because that was one of the worst losses I ever seen, as far as I can remember, in a playoff game, especially in a playoff pivotal Game 5. Usually in a Game 5 of a 2-2 tied series, both teams go at it either defensively, where they're preventing the other team from scoring way back in the day when defense was predicated in the NBA, or both teams are in a shootout where it's like 120 to 125. Whoever the last man standing or, hitting the last shot wins the series or something, wins the game or something like that. It is never usually a 30-point blowout in a Game 5. Not that I can remember any game of any importance, any series of any importance, I would say. I mean, I can't remember it. I mean, if you can remember one or something like that, put it in the comment section. Let me know, because I definitely want to be reminded, because I haven't seen a pivotal Game 5 where both teams know 82% of the time whoever wins that game usually wins the series, comes out there and lay an egg the way the Clippers did. And for all the talk, as I said before, all the talk about not needing Kawhi and all that, everybody looks dumb right now. They really do. Because even a unhealthy Kawhi, they wouldn't have lost by 30 points. When Kawhi's in the lineup, you might lose by 10 to 12, points somewhere in there. You're not losing by 30, because his presence alone makes the other team re-strategize what they're thinking going into the game. His presence alone does that. I mean, there's no way Paul George and James Harden should have let that happen on their watch. It was the worst basketball I think I've seen, not only from the Clippers, but any team that I can think of in the NBA, watching it for all the years I've watched it in a playoff game. It just don't sit well with me. And it shouldn't sit well with you. It shouldn't sit well with anybody else, because it's just atrocious looking basketball. And honestly, tonight, the Clippers, they better come out firing. And as I said in my previous video, they need to find a way to, get Norman Powell going. Because Norman Powell is that one guy on the Clippers. If he gets going offensively, he can really change things up in regards to Dallas' strategy about how they're attacking the Clippers, because they're going to crowd PG. They're going to try to, clutter him and James Harden to force them to make some bad passes and cause some turnovers, which they've been successful a little bit in this series, I would say. And if you're going to get the ball out of their hands, you got to have somebody else's hands you can put it in that can go out there and just, light this team up and score on them. And that person is Norman Powell. And they just gotta implement Norman Powell more. Stop trying to implement Russ and his little 6 points that he's giving and these little technicals he's getting and trying to fight Luka. It's like his head is not even in the game the way it's supposed to be. You're a Hall of Famer. You're just trying to win a championship. You can't allow these little instances to get you off your rhythm and hurt the team. You talking about Kawhi hurting the team? Russ has been hurting the team. Russ has been hurting the team more than Kawhi has. The last 4 games, Russ has been averaging 6 points a game. You heard me say in my last video. Bones Holland, Brandon Boston can give you that. Hell, Kobe Brown could probably give you that. Those are mediocre numbers for a Hall of Famer who's coming in there, who's supposed to make a presence, supposed to be a presence. Russ is supposed to be averaging double figures at worst. 10, 11 points per game with 5 assists. Is what he should be averaging. With the minutes that he get, the time that he's in there, and the trust that Ty Lue has in him, you got to be somewhere in that realm. You got to be. That's the reason why I said they got to find a way to implement Norman Powell a little bit more. They just have to, because he's the one guy that they have that can go in there and deliver a blow to the Dallas Mavericks. Because Dallas, even though they might have somewhat of a scheme for him, because they know he can go off, he hasn't went off in the series. He hasn't had one of those breakout games yet for them to really try to counteract that, his production. So if he comes out there, they implement him a little bit more, and he comes out there and gives them one of those, big games that we know he can, where he can score 20 plus points. And as long as Harden and PG give you 25 plus points or somewhere in there, the Clippers can steal a victory and take it back to LA and go from there. Because it's either going to have to be because in the game like this, the X factors are really going to have to stand out almost like the main guys to a degree. It's going to have to be a Norman Powell type game where he comes out there with 20 plus points. And they need a game one performance, or pretty close to a game one performance, from Ivica Zubac. He had like 20 and 15. Maybe he can't give them that, but if he can give them 17 and 14, somewhere in there, and if Norman Powell can give them close to 20 plus points in the game, and Paul George and James Harden pretty much kind of like do their thing, what they kind of like somewhat mimic what they did in game 4, maybe not 30 plus points apiece, but just 23 to 25 plus points apiece with Zubac, dominating in the paint. And throw some Daniel Tice in there, too, because Daniel Tice is important. I think he's very important to them. I don't think they should not be using Daniel Tice. I said use Mason Plumlee, because Mason Plumlee definitely, he could be a little bit more physical, but he really hasn't had much. I don't think this is really Mason Plumlee's series like I thought it would be. So you got to maybe throw some more Daniel Tice in there. Plus, Daniel Tice can stretch the floor because he can shoot threes also. So, I mean, he's another 3-point threat while he plays, with that intensity, even though he'll try to contest everything in the paint like, he's a real shot blocker, because he definitely plays that type of mindset also. So maybe they can throw some Daniel Tice in there and, try to get something from those other guys, because that's just pretty much where it's going to be, because they're definitely going to try to take the ball out of James Harden's hands, force him to give it up, run traps for Paul George when he tried to take somebody off the dribble and get to the paint. They're going to try to build a wall for him where he has to either pull up for the jumper or pass it off to somebody else. Terrence Mann, he's hit or miss, because sometimes he has the confidence to shoot, sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he just, I don't know. Terrence Mann just iffy to me also. And that's the problem with this team. They got too many guys to play with the iffy type mindset, from Paul George to, James Harden, Terrence Mann. I mean, pick them. You know what I'm saying? You look at last game, there's no way Paul George and you should only took 10 to 12, 14 shots. I think James Harden took like 10 shots. I mean, that's iffy mentality. That's a loser's mentality. If Kawhi Leonard's not there, you have the green light to take 20 plus shots. You got the green light. I mean, and there's no reason why they shouldn't have done it. There's no reason why they shouldn't have been more aggressive from the first half to the second half. There's no reason why. So hopefully this game, they play with a little bit more of a less iffy type mindset and go out there and be more aggressive and get themselves going, make their moves a little bit quicker before the double team comes, spin out of it. You know what I'm saying? Find somebody at the 3-point line if they're wide open, or go to the basket, draw fouls, get them in foul trouble, get Lively to sit down. Now you got to open rim to the basket a little bit more, where you can, penetrate a little bit more, make their defense work a little bit, because that's the problem. They're just settling for a lot of threes and not making Dallas really work for it on defense like that. So Dallas is just pinning their ears back, letting them shoot and watching them miss. When they miss, when they make it cool. But when they miss, they really killed them. That's the reason why they lost by 30 plus points. So it's like you got to be more aggressive, and you got to find ways. Ty Lue has to find ways to get, Norman Powell offense kickstarted, and he's got to kind of go back to Zoo a little bit, implement Zoo a little bit more, because Zoo, honestly, he can kill Derek Lively in the paint. He can do that. He really can, because he's got more experience than Derek Lively. He's been in more of these situations, so he knows more of what his angle is and how his attack is going to be. And if Zoo plays aggressive on the offensive end, well, he's going to come and play a little bit more aggressive on the defensive end, whether that's even getting blocks or getting more rebounds or just playing like the big man that he should be. I mean, he showed it in game 1, but you got to implement him a little bit more. You got to get him going. You got to try to get some easier baskets, because Dallas seemed to get more easier baskets than tough baskets more than what the Clippers are getting. Clippers are hitting step back threes and tough baskets. Sometimes, a lot of times, them tough baskets don't go. When they're not falling, now you find yourself behind. You're trying to climb an uphill battle that you can't win, especially without Kawhi Leonard. With Kawhi there, he offsets a lot of that. They take tough shots, they miss them. Okay, get back on defense. Kawhi might disrupt the play and get, a steal, fast break. Now you're getting fast break points. See, addition by subtraction. You missed the three, but if Kawhi is there, like I said, he can get a steal himself and he's on the fast break. Now you're getting an easy 2 points. You see what I'm saying? And you're taking away possessions from them. So it's like now that you don't have that, you got to find ways to implement those other pieces and let them have value in this game in order to get it right back to LA in Game 7. And that's the only way the Clippers, I think, if they come out with that type of mentality and let those X factors, like I said, get them going, the Norman Powells and the Zubac's, if they can get them going, and kind of implement them a little bit, kind of throw a little chink in the armor there for Dallas's game plan, then, like I said, it'll allow PG and Harden to kind of get a little bit of breathing room because they have to account for Zubac. They have to account for when Norman Powell's in the game because he's having one of those games where he's being ultra aggressive. He's going at them. He's scoring. Now it takes more pressure off of PG and Harden. And now they got one-on-one opportunities where they can go at their opponent and attack and, go at it like the way they do offensively. And it'll definitely give the Clippers a lot better chance to win, especially if, Kawhi doesn't play.